What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So there's been a lot of nothing in regards to what's happening with Aaron Rodgers since the New York Jets took their trip. But we know two vital components of Aaron Rodgers coming to the New York Jets are going to be his contract and what a restructure will look like. There's a lot of ways to get that done. Void years, turning portions of the base salary into, a bonus, etc. I'm not a cap expert, so I have no idea, but those are just a few things that could happen. What I can reference is what the trade value to acquire an Aaron Rodgers would actually look like. And considering history, sometimes we have to look back to go forward, and I figured revisiting the Brett Favre trade would actually be a pretty smart idea in a situation like this. I mean, a lot of the concern from a New York Jets fan perspective, and I'm sure the coaching staff and front office as well, would be how long would we be able to receive Aaron Rodgers' services, right? Will he be a starting quarterback for 2 years? Will he want to go 3, 4, 5, etc., right? And so we don't want to trade a bunch of first or second, even third round picks for a guy that's going to stick around for one season. So if we go back and think about the Brett Favre trade, we originally received Brett Favre for a conditional 4th round pick. Now, what were the conditions? This was one of the more unique contracts that you were going to find around the league at this time. It was just going to be an outright 4th rounder based on a trade. There was a few qualifiers. It can become a 3rd round pick if Brett Favre plays 50% of the plays. I think that would be important because in this day and age, you do have a lot of stuff like the Philly special and Wildcats and, quarterbacks lining up at receiver for certain stunts and different things like that, where that would be considered being a part of the play and not necessarily a snap as a quarterback. But nonetheless, 50% of the plays. It can become a 2nd rounder if he played 70% of the plays and the Jets qualify for the playoffs. And then it would become a 1st round pick if he played 80% of the snaps and makes a Super Bowl. And so I don't think we would get away with this just being a one pick kind of situation like we've seen with the Brett Favre trade. But you could do something like offer a 2nd and then maybe you make that same conditional pick for the 2024 draft. So essentially we would acquire Aaron Rodgers. We would give them a 2023 2nd round pick. In 2024, we would say, and maybe we just provide conditions on all 4 rounds. We will provide them a 2024 4th round pick. If he plays 50% of the snaps on the year, we'll give him a 3rd if we play 70% and make the playoffs. Or he makes a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro, something like that. We'll give him a 2nd if he plays 80% and we make the playoffs, and then it can become a 1st round pick if we reach the Super Bowl, and he's playing, we can keep it at 80% of the snaps. Doesn't necessarily matter too much at that point, but I think that might be a smart way to structure it to not kill the New York Jets and what we want to continue trying to build long term, but also not necessarily gypping the Packers, because there is a scenario where they don't have to accept any of this. I mean, they can still make the room and keep him under the contract. And, I doubt they will sit him and allow Jordan Love to start ahead of him. But still, they can kind of force the issue a little bit as well. A lot of people are saying that even though he doesn't have a no trade clause, he kind of does with the threat of retirement or wanting to go to a specific destination. But in reality, the franchise still does have quite a bit of say in what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers' future as well. But everybody seems like they want to move apart, at least from the Packers side. That is the feeling that I've been getting a lot of what the NFL insiders and ESPN and everybody has been sharing lately. So there was an interesting piece, though, that was thrown into the original contract that I think would make a lot of sense for us as a fail-safe option. A lot of people don't remember that a part of the Brett Favre contract was if he was traded to the Minnesota Vikings, which was a huge concern, division opponents, etc., that the New York Jets would surrender 3 first-round picks. Maybe we can build that in as a condition for this contract. We will still give up the 2nd. We will still give up the 2024 fourth round pick with the conditions that can become a first, assuming that we reach the Super Bowl and he plays 80% of the snaps. We can also say that if Aaron Rodgers ends up retiring after 1 year, the Green Bay Packers would have to surrender 2 or 3 first round picks, something of that nature. Maybe it's not even that high. Maybe it's a couple second or third rounders. But I think that could be a smart play for us in order to kind of, save ourselves from what could be an inevitable situation if we even get Aaron Rodgers to join the New York Jets. So, with that said, to summarize it again, I think reenacting a Brett Favre trade to a certain degree with a little twist would be the smart play here for the New York Jets. So ultimately, we would give up a 2023 second-round draft pick, a conditional 2024 second-round draft pick, and there will be elevators for that to become a third, second, and first. And then we build a fail-safe option that if he is to retire after just 1 season with the New York Jets, that we would recoup whatever round draft picks, but that may be, 2, 3 draft picks, etc. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Would you use that as a template for your own Brett Favre trade? Or do you think, and I've heard Ian from Jet Central mention this, allowing it to be a 2023 second round draft pick this year, as well as a 2024 second round draft pick next year that can be, and that would be conditional, that can be upgraded to a first, would just be the smart, safe play. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I'll catch you again. Peace.